My printer's doing overtime because it's making some of this and some of these. And what could this be when it's all put together? Stay tuned. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog number 402 for March the 31st, 2025. Hope everybody had a good weekend, and I hope this week is going to be even better for you. And let's jump right into what it is I have been working on. This is a sneak preview. Tomorrow I will talk about these things in a little bit more detail. But right now, you know that I have a new great niece, Clara, and she's about 5 months old. Yeah, I just found out about her, story for another day. And I decided to do the Tracy Perks pattern for the giraffe quilt. It's kind of a quilt, kind of a wall hanging kind of thing. A lot of little pieces. More about that tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. And the little pig right beside it, he is a bib. And I found these cute little designs on one of the sites, one of the embroidery sites. It's in the Hoop project, and there were other animals as well. So I'm making her a series of these bibs. And, you know, I guess you go through a lot of bibs. So these are completely washable. But I'll talk about that design because I ran into a little problem as well with one of the companies on the designs that I downloaded and paid for, and there is no refund because of something they put in the small print. But I will talk about that in more detail tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And I finished this one up as well, and I just thought this was stinking cute. This is the little Easter Bunny. Actually, he's a Easter Bunny gnome. And you know how I love gnomes, so I made him. He's a wall hanging, and he's hanging in my gallery of gnome wall hangings on my cupboards down here, out of shot right now on my video. But he's added to the collection, and there was another one that they were selling right along with him, and that was a Halloween one, which I haven't worked on yet, but I will eventually. And yeah, I'll have a gnome bunny, or a gnome, put it this way, a gnome for each major seasonal event. So again, I will talk about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. So that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And today I'm going to be talking a fair amount about 3D printing. And this is the start of that with the best new 3D printing tools and updates for Bambu, Prusa, slicers, CyberBricks, and more. And if you want to keep on top of what's trending in the 3D print world, YouTube is the source for all of this information. And right now, there's a big hubbub going on about the newly released Bambu printer, which is bigger and does pretty much everything except clean your house. I would pay any price for a machine that did that. However, they're getting very elaborate. But, well, here's my review of that video. This week's YouTube video comes from my 3D print lab, and it is entitled Best New 3D Printing Tools and Updates for Bambu, Prusa, slicers, CyberBricks, and more. And there have been rumors coming out. In fact, they're more than just rumors now, because I think it's going to be revealed to us later this month, that Bambu Labs is coming out with a brand new machine called the H2D, which is supposed to be bigger and better. And this particular individual does a speculation review of what this new printer might be all about. Also, he talks about some of the other major manufacturers of printers and slicers and what we can expect from them in the very, very near future. So if you want to keep up to date with the trends in 3D printing, if you're interested in purchasing possibly one of these new machines that are about to be released, then you're going to want to check out this video by my 3D print lab. So as I said, if you're interested in 3D printing, you may want to check that one out about the latest trends and what's coming up this year. It's an exciting year for 3D printing. It really is. 3D printers have come a long way since I started doing 3D printing a few years ago. Now they are pretty much plug and play, and they work without a lot of tinkering. I'm loving my Bambu X1C carbon printer. It's going all the time, and it is a great printer. Yes, Bambus are a little more expensive, not the most expensive on the market. I can tell you that. Crealities tend to be a little cheaper, but you get what you pay for. Creality still has a lot of problems with their 3D printers. I don't recommend them as beginners printers, at least not the ones I know of. Unless you love to tinker. If you love to tinker, if you love to keep fixing things, with, well, actually, Creality support has gotten a lot better. They're really putting out a lot of very good videos for, helping you out with any problems you might have with the Creality. But they still have a distance to go to get to the level of Bambu, I think, in my opinion. Anyways, let's move on. You'll find a link for that video in the show notes below. You'll find a link for Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Those of you that come on a regular basis have noticed that Stephanie has been missing from the sew days. Quite a few of them, actually. But I have been talking to her, and I know she's getting ready for her big retreat that's coming up tail end of this week. So that takes a lot of time and effort and organization and all kinds of things there. And I won't get into it because it's not for me to mention, but she is having some issues, some family issues that she has to deal with too. And this is eating into her time, but she did mention that she's going to try anyways to be on this week's Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. So if all works out, hopefully we'll see Stephanie. Yeah. Okay, so you'll also find links for all of my friends' YouTube channels, and you'll find links for things I talk about today, and you'll find links for last week's videos as well. So lots of links. Link everywhere. Okay, let's talk about what it's looking like outside today. Well, this was a difficult picture for me to take, and you'll know why. When you look at it, you will see my reflection. I'm looking through my glass storm doors when I took this picture. Now, usually when I take the picture from outside, I do it from my Ring camera. But my Ring camera this morning is kind of fogged up, and the outdoor light that you see, off to the side here is glaring into the camera. And I'm not really sure what's going on. The weather is weird this morning. It's 9 degrees right now Celsius. So I have a feeling this is why it's kind of hazy out, because, the air is pretty warm for this time of day. And when I say this time of day, I'm looking at my clock right now, and at the moment that I just said that, it is now 6:30 in the morning here. So, it's still dark out. And it's a little kind of drizzly. We've had a couple of days of drizzle here as well, borderlining on freezing rain. Luckily here where I live, we haven't gotten freezing rain, just rain. But just not that far north of us, they've had a lot of freezing rain. It's bringing down hydro lines. It's bringing down trees, things like that. One of the participants on the pop-up sew day who lives north of me, in that area, sent me a picture of a tree down across the hydro lines. Ice storms, I know some of you come from areas that you don't see ice or don't see snow, but I'd rather have snow than an ice storm. Ice storms are treacherous for all kinds of reasons, and they really can pull down trees. Yeah, that's how heavy the ice can get. Fortunately for where we live right here, because we're so close to the Lake Ontario, we have what they call the lake effect, and that keeps us a little bit milder. So what we're getting is rain. So anyways, that's what the forecast is like today, and it looks like the high is going to be 10 degrees C. Now, if it was only sunny, that would be like, let's get on our shorts and sandals kind of weather. We're crazy like that as Canadians. So I'm just looking here to see what the forecast is for this week. Well, today it's 65% chance of rain. That doesn't surprise me. But come Thursday of this week, we're supposed to be going to a high of 18 C. That is pretty warm for this time of the year. And then Friday 12. But throughout the week, we're in single and almost into double digits above zero. So that's pretty darn good. But rain, lots of rain actually. Wednesday rain, Thursday rain, Sunday rain, Monday, Monday snow, 55% chance, but it's 4 degrees C. It won't last if there is any snow from that. Could be famous last week though, because this time of the year where I live, you don't know what the weather's going to be like. It teases us. At one point, it's spring-like and warm, and like I said, shorts and sandals. We're all excited because summer's around the corner. And then the next day, we can wake up and have had 12 inches of snow dumped on us, or freezing rain. So yeah, that's Mother Nature. That's just the way it is. And I don't know. People claim it's global warming. I don't know. It probably is part of that, but really, it is just weather. It happens. Excuse me. It happens. So, yeah. But anyways, let's move on here and let's talk about what's pissing me off. And again, this has something to do with, well, has a lot to do with the 3D printing world. I was doing some searches for some prints the other day on my usual sites I go to, and it dawned on me that there's a whole lot of violent, how would you put it? Yeah, violent related prints. Prints that have to do with death, killing, things like that. Like there's a lot of these creatures that people can make for various games like Dungeons and Dragons and other things. And they're all very violent looking figures. They have swords and they have blades and they have guns and all kinds of weapons and things like that. And they look like if they were in real life, you wouldn't want to meet this person in a dark corner. Yeah, it's horrible. Did you know you can actually print a working gun using your 3D printer? If you have the right filament and the right printers, you can print a working gun, a gun that will shoot real bullets. And criminals are getting on the bandwagon for 3D printing for this kind of thing because these are made from plastic. They can go through metal detectors. Yeah, scary thought, right? And it has already happened. And it's happened on more than one occasion. We used to worry about television. Back when I was a kid, the violence on TV, and that was going to screw us all up. And to a certain extent, it did. Then that got transferred to video games and movies and magazines. And now it's just made its natural progression into the 3D printing world. And I'm disgusted by that. I do not do any prints that suggest violence. I would never, ever print a gun. Now, there are lots of toy guns, ones that shoot with little rubber bands and that kind of stuff. And I mean, toy guns have been around forever. I don't believe in them. I don't think toy guns or any weapon kind of toys, knives, even little green combat figurines, I don't think those should be manufactured, and I don't think kids should have access to them. Because what is it teaching them? It's teaching them that this world is a violent world. Well, it is a violent world, but, if we had less of these kind of things, it might be a little less violent too. I don't know. I know there's a big debate out there as to, whether toys and what kids see on TV and on YouTube and stuff like that incites violence in them or makes them aggressive and violent. I don't know if that's true or not. And the verdict is still out on that. There's been lots of studies done, and for every study that says yes, there's another study that says no. So you don't know. But I don't think we need to create toys or 3D prints that incite or instigate a violent environment. That's stupid. I will never print a gun of any sort on my 3D printers. In fact, when my nephews were born, I said, I will never give them as a birthday present, Christmas present, any kind of gift. I will never give them a toy gun, ever. Did I have toy guns when I was a kid? Of course I did. Did we play cops and robbers, Indians and cowboys, or since it was the Cold War era when I grew up, spy versus spy? And it was a lot of fun. And I had cap guns, and I had guns that made realistic sounds, and I played with them. Yep. But I don't own a gun. I never want to own a gun. So I am not going to get into that world. And you know, there's so many things that you could be printing, but if you go on to any one of the 3D model sites where you download your files for your printer, in their trending, like they always have what's hot in the last 30 days or what's hot in the last week, that kind of thing, you will find that there will be a certain percentage of those items that represent violence in some way. Whether it's a gun, whether it's a fantasy figure that is, you know, wielding a sword or whatever. And something else that maybe not violence, but could incite violence, is you can also get figurines of barely dressed women. Some very sexy things you can print on your 3D printer. And these figures of women, some of them are supposed to be fantasy warriors, that kind of thing. But why are they dressed or not dressed like the male figures, their counterparts? They're always very buxom, but they got big boobs as well. What is that teaching to kids or to even grown adults? And when I say grown adults, I'm saying more or less men. It's a fantasy world that combines sex and violence, and all of this at your fingertips, and you can print as many of these kind of things out as you want on your 3D printer. I think 3D printing needs to be regulated. I think it needs to be censored. But you know what happens when, you know, you try to censor or control something like this. People say it's art. People say it's my right, my printer, my right, I can print these things. People say if we couldn't print them, or if they're not so appropriate, why are there so many of them available? There's an endless series of arguments for and against all of this. But if I was a parent and I bought a 3D printer for my child, and that's coming, you're going to see this coming Christmas, more and more kids are going to get a 3D printer, because the 3D printer world is now gearing to children tiny printers that are functional, they work, and they're easy for even a kid that's pre-kindergarten to operate. You know, not weird to think this could happen, because think about it. When iPads first came on the market and cell phones and that, kids didn't have them. They were adult things. Well, now look, a kid who goes into kindergarten and has never had his hands on an iPad or even a cell phone, that's a rarity in this modern day and age. Those kids know how to use that stuff better than we do. So it's just logical that it's going to happen with 3D printers too, especially now that 3D printers are ready to go right out of the box. They're kind of the easy bake oven of the 21st century. But they'll have more access to these kind of images that I've been talking about and things like that. What will that do to their psyche? Are we going to create another generation, and I say another generation, of violent, sexist creeps? Yeah, parental guidance is definitely needed. So, yeah, this is something that I don't think a lot of people think about when it comes to 3D printing, but there is an ethical issue, a moral issue that is attached to 3D printing now. as with any piece of technology, it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. So, if you were thinking of buying a 3D printer, you might want to keep all of that in mind. Okay, so what about the grow lights? How are things doing? Well, the peppers are doing well, but yeah, it's time for a new planting because things are getting a little dead. Prune back those that basil because it's taken over. And you can see we don't have a lot left of the lettuce. And now the lettuce here looks good, but I took this picture yesterday before we had dinner last night, and Walter made a Caesar salad, and I think he used a lot of that lettuce that's there. But you can see it looks weird too, right? It gets that way after a while when it's been growing, and if you haven't been harvesting it regularly, the leaves will start to go a little misshapen, or at least this variety that we're growing. And I couldn't tell you what the variety is, but Walter found a variety that does well under the grow lights. So yeah, that needs to be replanted. Meanwhile, the peppers, oh my goodness. They are just doing so well. Those are little peppers in the back. They're not tomatoes. We're not growing tomatoes. Tomatoes we didn't have a lot of luck with under the grow lights. Some people do, but we didn't. But the peppers, they're the best of all. Peppers and lettuce. Well, what more do you need? We have a salad on that. So I'm really, and you know this because I talk about it every week, I am so pleased with our peppers. Yeah. And we have been harvesting them and eating them as well. And we've got more. I think one of these pots, oh no, he transplanted it. He had started a couple more peppers. And oh yeah, they're down here out of the picture shot. But yeah, he transplanted them into bigger pots. So the idea is we'll always have peppers. It's just perpetual. We just keep, keep growing them. As we harvest them, new ones are growing and they're in various stages, that kind of thing. So yeah, now my sister just got into this, but she bought a hydroponic system and it looks really cool. And she got it from Amazon and it basically does more than ours does. And it was not expensive, about $170 Canadian. She actually bought two. She bought one for herself and she bought one for a relative who's getting married. And who's into this kind of thing as well. And I said to Walter, we should maybe take a look into this hydroponic kind of thing too. But yeah, that's how our garden grows, and it'll be really nice when we get to the nice weather eventually and we can start our container garden outside, because I love that. Not just because of, what we gather from it, but also because it looks beautiful on the deck. Nice lush green, lots of color when the peppers come up, the tomatoes come up, all lettuce comes up, all that kind of thing. That's, it'll come soon enough. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about new products. All right, first of all, it's not a new product, but I had a problem with my Roomba by iRobot. I own two of them. My old one, actually, it's working right now as we speak in the other part of the downstairs here. And because I have to clean today. It's my monthly deep cleaning. I hate cleaning. But anyways, it has to be done. So Robo's in there working on the carpet, and that one works fine. But the newer one we bought, I've had issues with it since the day we bought it. And the latest issue was it just wasn't sucking anything up, no matter what I did. So I'd had it. And I wrote to the company, and I didn't expect to get back an answer. And it went for several days before I did, but I did get an answer. Now, the answer was pretty much a canned thing, a canned message, which I also expected. However, whoever wrote that or whoever was responsible for sending that email out, there were 3 links. And the first link said, okay, to fix your problem, you have error 18. Nothing came up on the screens of the Robo to tell me it was 18. They said they've been monitoring it. Huh? The Robo is connected to the Wi-Fi. You do go on to a app site to activate the robot. Does that mean that everybody that owns one of these one of these models, they can see a history of what it's doing. Well, it does keep a history on my phone, so I suppose, but I didn't see any error messages coming up about that. Anyways, I just thought about that. It's kind of spooky. Everything in your house is a smart machine and is watching you. Terminator. Okay, back to this. So, the first suggestion was reboot the Roomba. Do it 3 times in a row. Well, that's kind of like the old unplug it and plug it back in trick. But I thought, what the heck? The other 2 links were basically stuff I'd already seen online when I was looking for troubleshooting. So I decided to reboot the Robo 3 times. Took a little bit of time to do that because with each reboot it has to do whatever it does, and it takes about 10 minutes each time. So after about a half an hour, okay, so start it up. The sucker worked. I don't know. I'm still skeptical. We're keeping our eye on it, but right now it's working the way it's supposed to be working. So we'll see. My email to the company, to iRobot, was not friendly. I mean, I didn't swear or anything like that, but I basically told them what I thought of their products, that their quality had gone downhill since the first one that I bought. And the first one I bought about 8 years ago. And, parts of it have fallen off. That's one reason why we bought a new one, but it's still working. So, takes a licking, but comes up ticking. But this new one, no, you can tell the quality is cheaper. There's all kinds of other problems with its programming, that kind of thing. Would I recommend anybody buy a robot, and this is Roomba, from iRobot or any of their products? No. And I told them that in the email. I told them I would not recommend it to anybody, and I told them I had a YouTube channel and I'll be talking about it. So maybe that's why I got a message back from them. I don't know. But anyways, for now, it is working. But I have my eyes open for good sales on other devices out there. And I'm sure Walter has already done the research, because he does. We should have done the research on this one, but it was on sale at Canadian Tire. And you know how Walter loves a sale. So, yeah. So that's one thing about technology. But as we turn it back to 3D printing again, to can I print that effing thing? Well, here are some things that I have been printing, and these are cute. Do I need more Easter things, decor? No. Well, that should be on my list this week. I should be decorating for Easter. Didn't used to do that, but I do it now. And here. And each one of these will take a little LED light you can put underneath it, and they look really cool. I have rented lips, LED lights that change color, go through sort of a cycle. And I was trying them out, and it looks really cute. Now, you might wonder why I made so many. Well, it's because I kept playing with the sizing so my lights could fit into them. And so that's why I have these different sizes. And I love the colors. Yeah, and the little feet on them, these are called fuzzy printing. This is something that's all the rage right now in 3D printing. It's giving texture to the things that you print. So these feet are called fuzzy printing, fuzzy skins. They call it fuzzy skins on things. So you can set up your slicer and that to do that if you want. I thought it was appropriate for bunny feet. Okay, so there was that. And then, all right, this shelf. My friend Russ from Quilt Meets World sent me a picture of this. And when he sends me pictures of these things, he wants me to print them. He's enticing me. He's my enabler. It's a tiered shelf. I don't think I have another picture of it. No, I don't. But there is a stand in behind it. Actually, the way I took this picture, it looks like it's floating, but it's not. It's just these things are blocking it. Printed in pretty good. I printed it on the Bambu lab. And yeah, it just gives me a little more space on my display of 3D print items that I have over here, a spot where you can't see at the moment. So yeah, Um, I did that. Now, the other thing that I'm doing, and I need to go out of this and go up here to this. This is what I'm currently working on. It's called the Fortune Teller Caravan. It's by Fulv. Never know how to say his name. Fulu. I don't know. You saw the Halloween Mansion, Haunted Mansion, the Christmas House, and the theater. Well, this is another one in his series, and I purchased this, and you can see his prices are really cheap because there's a lot of pieces for these. It takes quite a while to print. It'll take me a couple of weeks to print this all out and then to assemble it, but I really love them. And if we get off the picture that is flashing, you can see here what it's got. It's got the caravan, the tent, Little Witch, and this in the center, this orb. Let's see here. Is there a bigger picture? Oh, it looks like the witches didn't come with it. There is some figures that came with it, but I didn't look to see what they were. But this orb right here, I ordered it. I had to get it from Amazon, unfortunately. But he recommended it. You can make this model without it. He has a substitute that you print out, but it won't light up like this. This one is really cool. It's rechargeable. It has an app. What doesn't have an app? And you can have it programmed to come on and go off at certain times of the day. I like that idea. And you can do these weird swirly patterns of multicolors in it. It looks like a crystal ball, and that's why he's put it onto this model. He thinks of everything. He really does. So yeah, so it's going to be another one in my collection, and when I get it all finished, then I'll show you the finished product of it. But I'm really excited about this, and as we speak, my printer is working on it right now. Okay, so I think that's it for about 3D things. As you know, I'm an enthusiast for 3D printing, and I'm not alone. There are many, many out of them. And I have spent, I don't tell you how many hours that I've gone down the YouTube path of videos about 3D printing. But that's how you learn. Yep. Okay, so let's go to an old clip from an old earlier Stephen and Walter live, and this one was generated from a question we had in this particular episode, and they want to know how Walter and I met. So here's the blast from the past.
Oh, here, Evie's got a question. How did you guys meet, and was it love at first sight, if you don't mind me asking? Guess Evie missed that question.
Missed
that was
that
one.
That was.
We met through a personal ad in a newspaper. It was 1983. And so there was really no internet in 1983 for the general consumer. So today, you know, you have all those different dating things. So it was a personal column in a newspaper. And
Well, that's basically because I didn't know how else to meet another guy. So and so.
well, on that
I
day,
knew,
things were very underground.
I knew that they had the personal column, so he placed an ad and I answered it. So
Actually, I placed an ad because another friend of mine told me this is what you should do. And I said, no, placing an ad in newspapers for losers. You know, that's who answers those. I had actually answered a couple of ads myself before this time period. And yeah, it was all just weird and a lot of nuts out there. So they said, but no, he said, the way you word it and these replies will come to you in the mail. It's very discreet the way they'll come to you, and you can pick and choose. You know, you can decide who you want to contact or who you don't want to contact because they don't have your contact information. All they have is a post office box number at the newspaper. So I gave it a try. I got about 40 letters, which, by the way, I never saved them. I destroyed them all. Which, you know, I kind of wish I hadn't, because looking back on it now, those would have been hilarious to read again. Because some of the things, and well, I can't get into it because some of it was a little X-rated on there as well. But I met about 6 people from out of the 40, and every one of them, no, were weird. I couldn't get rid of them fast enough. And on the last day that the ad could possibly be seen and I could get any answers from, I got a single letter, and it was his. And I read it. He was a local guy, and I thought, well, he sounds like boring. But I gave him a phone call, and after I gave him the phone call, and we arranged to meet, but after I got off the phone, I went, boring. And I was younger. I mean, it was 34 years ago. Okay, I was younger. I don't know what I had in my mind. I probably had like, oh, this Greek god was going to ascend from heaven and carry me off on a unicorn or something. I don't know. And when he showed up at my apartment, opened the door, no unicorn, no Greek god, no. I thought, well, okay.
I was really skinny then.
Yeah.
I used to run a lot.
Yeah, and you had hair.
And I had hair.
He had hair.
And
my hair was darker.
I used to run a lot, and I was
skinnier too.
pretty skinny.
Well, we're not huge people now, but
No, but I was.
We're not svelte. So anyways, I invited him in, and we had a couple of drinks, and we had a nice, pleasant chat and whatnot. And I just figured, well, okay, I'll be polite to him, but I'll probably never see him again, and off he goes. But we did decide to see each other again. I thought, well, you'd be a nice person to hang out with, go to the movies with.
We actually
have dinner.
just started being social. He had a group of friends that he was hanging around with, so we all sort of started hanging around together. And then I always wanted to drive out west as a holiday, and he had the same vision. So about a year before, I was supposed to go out west with another guy, and he got a full-time job. And didn't have enough holidays to take to go away. So I was able to take. I can't remember exactly how that happened. I think it saved a week from the year before.
You must have, because we're gone 3 weeks.
Yeah, I took 4 weeks off, but we were gone for 3 weeks. We decided to both drive out west, and
Way across Canada.
We were in close confines with each other for 3 weeks. That sort of
and we didn't kill each other.
Yeah, we didn't kill each other. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that sort of cemented our relationship. So.
Yeah, and it went from there and on.
And that sort of.
Yep.
Yeah.
It took us 4 years before we moved in together with each other. We bought a house together, and now we're in our second house. And of course, you know that we got legally married in 2005, so we've been legally married for 12 years now as well. So. And just as soon as his investments get to a certain level where I will know that I can grow accustomed to that style of living, I'm having him killed. Yay! Wills are all there. No problem. Okay, now, looking back here. And so Evie says, was it love at first sight?
No.
No. Not even close. I don't know if it is anymore. Yeah. Well, I guess we're fine.
We get along good, so.
And that takes me to events in the past week. Well, we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday. Had about 24 people there at the height of it. I think everybody had a good time. People were being very industrious. I think a lot of people, many people got many of their projects done or well, underway. And so that's nice. And it was pleasant conversation. We did get a little political at one point, but I kind of curtailed it because I thought we were getting a little bit too political, and it's supposed to be a nice relaxing day, and in this day and age we need relaxing days. Now, am I having another one? Yes, I am, very soon, in 2 weeks time. Less than 2 weeks. 1 week from this coming Saturday, I'll be having another pop-up sew day. Details will come out next week on all of my videos, but the date for that, if you want to plan ahead, if you would like to join us, is April the 12th. Saturday, April the 12th. So pencil that in. And what else happened this week? I have the hiccups. Walter broke a tooth. Okay. Not the first time he's done this. He doesn't listen. How'd he break his tooth? He's chomping on a piece of hard licorice. He loves licorice. He's Dutch. Dutch have a thing about licorice, I guess. And he buys stuff that, they're a hard candy. Suck, don't bite on a hard candy. That's what my mother always said. My mother used to say to me, don't you bite on that candy. You'll break a tooth. And that was instilled in me, and I never, if I've got a hard candy, I suck the sucker. I do not bite it. But now Walter, you'll sit there and you'll hear him. He pops it in, and in a few seconds' time you hear crunch, crunch, crunch. And I'd say to him, you're going to break a tooth. So what'd he do? He broke a tooth. So off he went to the tooth fairy. That's what we call our dentist because he's gay. And yeah, not only is he a dentist, but he opens his mouth and the ruby slippers drop out. So yeah, the tooth fairy. He's a damn good dentist, too. And he fixed Walter right up, and he was quick. But he did warn Walter. He said, you know, if this happens again, there'll be nothing there to fix. It'll have to be a crown. So I said to Walter, don't bite the candies. He will anyways, I know that. So I think there's a crown in his future. Yeah. Yeah, so that's about the excitement of the week, I guess. So what's coming up? Well, I've already mentioned the next pop-up sew day on April the 12th, and then 2 weeks after that, it's the Idiot Quilter 2025 Spring Retreat, April the 26th. Next week, on April the 7th, I will be releasing a special video about the retreat that will tell you everything you need to know about what you can expect, especially for those of you who've never been to one of my retreats, what you can expect, who our guest speakers are, what kind of things we're going to be doing, prizes, and how you register for it. Now, it is completely free, but you do have to register, and all of that information will be in that video next week. So stay tuned for it. You might want to pencil that in as well, April the 7th. Okay, that's it for me today. I have a house to clean and other things to do today, and the longer I sit here, the less clean my house gets. I'm procrastinating right now because I hate house cleaning. Anyways, you do what you have to do. Have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye for now.